Greetings, everyone! I am Nick DiVirgilio, and today is a special day because this video is about these TAMA 50th Anniversary Limited Edition reissue drum kits. TAMA has a rich history when it comes to drum making, and they brought back one of their most classic kits, the 9mm 6-ply all birch shell Superstar. When this kit was first introduced back in the 1970s, it definitely turned some heads. Soon, some of the very best players in the world were playing TAMA Superstar drums, like Billy Cobham, Lenny White, Elvin Jones, Simon Phillips, Stuart Copeland, Bill Bruford, and Neil Peart, just to name a few. Those original Superstar drums had power, tone, and killer musicality for any style of music. TAMA has stayed true to that original vision, and their 50th anniversary has brought back these amazing drums to all of us, which is so very cool. Now, before we dive into the details, and if you like what we do here at Sweetwater, I humbly ask that you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Okay, time for a brief, very brief history lesson. Hoshino is the parent company of TAMA. The company was founded way back in 1908. Hoshino has been making drums since the early 1960s, but it was in 1974 when Hoshino began to brand their drums and hardware as TAMA. 1974, 2024, that's 50 years, hence the 50th anniversary. The Superstars were released just about 2 years into the TAMA brand, and they were the company's entry into the professional drum market, and they laid the groundwork for the future of TAMA's high-end drums. Now it's time to get into the details of these amazing drums. They're 9mm 6-ply all birch shells. That's the same shell recipe they used way back in the early 80s and the 70s. You get a 22 by 14 inch kick drum. 14-inch depth is awesome. A 10 by 8 and a 12 by 8 rack tom. That's a little more modern, having the second rack tom the same depth as the first rack tom. And then you get a 16 by 16 inch floor tom. This is a shell pack. There's no snare that comes with the shell pack. I have a really cool TAMA SLP snare drum here to go with this drum kit, but any snare drum you have at home would probably work, but we also have a ton, and I mean a ton of TAMA snare drums here at Sweetwater, so just talk to your Sweetwater sales engineer to get you the exact snare to go with this beautiful kit. Now, one of my favorite things about this kit, the rack toms are mounted on the kick drum. Everybody? Everybody? The toms are mounted on the kick drum. You might think that's a small thing or that's an old school thing. It is old school, but it's really cool. It doesn't change the tone of the kick drum. This kick drum is powerful and loud and has plenty of low end, and the rack toms are always just right in the right place. I've had plenty of kits with the virgin bass drum where you mount the toms off the cymbal stands, and that's cool. Of course, that's awesome, but this is just kind of the way drums were meant to be. So this is a really great thing. The drums come with the original Superstar badge. Nice throwback, it looks great, especially on this beautiful shell. You also get the original Superstar lug that works great, easy to tune the drums, holds the tension. They're a nice touch. The drums come outfitted with TAMA/Remo ambassador coated heads on both the resonant and the batter side. That gives a really cool tone. You know, most people think you put a clear head on the resonant side. You can obviously do that if you want to when you change these heads out, but the coated head on both sides screams old school and just gives these drums a really cool tone as well. The head on the front of the kick drum has the original TAMA Superstar logo on it, which looks great, and you also get a coated kick drum head for the batter side as well. Now let's talk about the finishes that come on this kit. I'm sitting behind what I think is such a cool looking drum kit. This is the Super Mahogany finish. Deep, lush, brown wood color. You see the grain coming through. The lacquer is perfect. But there's also 3 other colors that you can get in the Superstar kit: aquamarine, cherry wine, and super maple. I have one right next to me here. Oh, come on. That is gorgeous, gang. Does this not look gorgeous, this drum? The gang agrees. Also, what is really cool is on the inside of the drum shell. They paint the inside of the drum shell as well. Now the Super Mahogany, like I'm sitting behind, is gonna look brown on the inside. Aquamarine has the aquamarine color. Same with the maple and the cherry wine. It's just a really nice aesthetic. It's just super inspiring to see the little touches like this on these great drums. You get a nice little gift when you buy these drums. It's a drum key. I think it's worth showing. Nice anodized TAMA drum key. That's a cool little gift. Before I move on, I'd like to give a quick shout out to all this other amazing gear I have on this drum shoot here with me today. Telefunken M80s on the toms and snare drum, AT5045s as my overheads. There's a Beyerdynamic TG D71 on the front of the kick drum on the floor, a Neumann FET 47 on the head of the kick drum, What else? There's an AEA N8 out in the room. Awesome Meinl cymbals. Everything's going into a couple of Apollos and on into the Pro Tools. And if you want to get any information on any of this great gear, there's links in the description below. All right, that was a lot of talking, I know. Thank you for your patience, but now let's get into the sound of these drums. You heard the drums in the music at the beginning of this video. I hope you like that tune. Let's check out the sound of these toms. No snare wires on, and then I'll put the snare wires on as well. Here we go. Great tone interval between each drum. Nice high pitch 10, nice mid-range 12, deep and thuddy 16 here. Now, again, these are single ply ambassador style drum heads. So if you want to thuddy up these drums a little more, make them even deeper sounding, put on a 2-play head like an Emperor or a Super 2 or anything like that, and you'll kind of deaden up the sound a little bit more and make it even kind of lower and rounder. But right now they have tons of attack and just great musical tone. Let me turn the snare wires on and do the same thing. Now onto the sound of this great kick drum. Again, it's 22 by 14. For a lot of years recently, deep, extra deep kick drums all the way to 18 were super popular, and they're great. There's nothing wrong with those. But over time, the more shallow kick drums have been coming back in style. And 14, you think it's not going to give you a lot of low end. Let me tell you, you got a ton of low end with that shallow of a depth. The front head does not have a hole in it, so you're going to get a little sustain out of the sound. Put a hole in the front head if you want and tighten up the sound, but here is how it sounds right out of the box, and it's really cool. I think you're going to dig it. Snare wires off, and then I'll turn the snare wires on. Here we go. It sounds great with the wires on or off. And when you put those snare wires on, you get a little bit more attack in the sound. It's super rock and roll. It's really cool. So now I'm going to play the drums a little bit, snare wires on, snare wires off, and kind of just have some fun with these drums. Let's do it. And there you have it, the TAMA 50th Anniversary Limited Superstar Reissue 4-piece shell pack. I think the world is a better place now that these drums have been brought back. The gang agrees. They sound fantastic, they look fantastic, and if you're one of the lucky few that gets one of these kits, well, that's pretty fantastic too. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today, folks. I will see you again next time. Cheers.